Well, good evening, people. Welcome to another episode of The Bridge. We're going to get it going tonight on and popping. Ari, Chef Shortner, introduce yourself to the people so we can get it popping.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Yes, Chef Harry here in the building, and I'm here with a libation. I hope you are too. And I got a little smoke going on, half a smoke, but it's all good. Private chef extraordinaire here in South Florida. And we do what we do with food, with catered events. We on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show Mondays 9:30, and we do other things too. But glad to be here again once again tonight to cut it up with my man James and anybody else who is going to be up in the chats. So let's get it on.
All right, and I'm James, Mr. J, the producer and co-host with Chef Irie. Ready to get it popping. And we're going to start off with a little sports, because we was talking about it before we came on the air, that the Lakers are down their two best players. And Ari was asking me, do you think LeBron can come back? And I was like, I don't know. It depends on how bad the sprain is. And with Utah and Phoenix, the great Phoenix, getting ready to take control of the West, I don't know what the Lakers and the Clippers are going to do.
Okay. I need to start paying more attention to the basketball league now, that and March Madness and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, because I was just on Twitter a few days ago and I was like, oh, LeBron's out. I was like, damn, it sounded like he got hurt really bad. So now you tell me that it's a high ankle sprain and stuff like that. But yes, as we've seen, a lot of high ankle sprains, that sometimes take a little while to for the individual to recover from it. Um, it takes a little while, and it's one of them things that you can't really rush it because you start putting too much excess pressure on it, and you might re-injure it, and then next thing that could be worse. So hopefully, he comes back, you know,
Right.
in good shape. Um, so, what's the teams you just mentioned? Uh,
Phoenix and
Phoenix.
Utah are sitting
Yeah.
at the top.
There's a long time we haven't heard, Phoenix, being in serious contention, and it's been a while. Um, Utah, at one time, a couple of years, they were in contention, playing some good ball. So, but like if if a team goes down, there's going to be a team if they're playing good, to pounce on and trying to get better positioning, as they go, throughout the rest of the season. So that should be interesting. How the Lakers start playing if they really get to rally around the rest of the troops that's on the team. Hopefully, they can find resolve, if you would. I don't know if they're gonna repeat this year. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I was saying that you talk about my team, Phoenix. Yeah, we haven't been in a contention for a good little while, so I'm happy that we're climbing back up to the mountaintop.
Right?
Hopefully, we'll be able to produce this year.
Okay. Well, it's all in a matter in the games play, man. You know how it is. It's all about wins and losses, bro. Double and L's. You know, and see how they'll take it. How far they can take it. So, but it's good to see them back up in the mix. 'Cause it's been a minute since Phoenix has been there. We haven't really been talking about Phoenix in a long time.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see if my boy is still over there. At one time, James Jones, that was from the Miami Heat, he was over there.
Oh, he's
JJ.
still he's still playing.
No,
Okay.
he was in the upper office of for the Suns. He's
Okay.
uh
Okay.
he is the general manager.
James Jones.
Yeah.
There you go. That's cool.
He started. He came in the NBA as a Sun.
As a son.
Yeah, he played for the Suns when he first came into the league.
Okay. 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 Yeah, it's kind of cool. I find it. I think it's really cool. That um, a lot of the well, I don't know if a lot of the players, but the players that do transition from player to being part of the team in management positions. I think it's a good thing because a lot of them I think went in probably with a end goal in mind because all of them those people who transition like that already knew that they're only going to be able to play for a certain amount of time, and a lot of the players come into the league thinking that they can be there forever,
Hmm.
and you can as an athlete you only can play for so long.
Yep. So we're gonna move along to our next sports topic. Unfortunately, well, my boy Deshaun Watson seems to have a little bit of trouble going on.
Mm,
He got 16 as of today. 16 women have filed lawsuit against him. And I'm saying it's mighty funny that this all happens.
after he signed his big contract.
No, not after he signed his big contract. After he said he want
Mm,
of out of Houston,
okay.
that he's demanding a trade,
Hmm.
and the lawyer that's representing the ladies happens to be friends with the owner of Houston.
Of course, there's no conflict of interest there.
Yeah, know what I'm saying. Mhm. It's I'm looking at how does this look to you? Why are people not bringing this up?
So he's representing what, all of them, or just a few of them?
I think he might be representing a few of them.
Okay.
He's
Wow.
representing a few of them, but he's the one that brought the lawsuits first.
Okay. Wow.
You know how this happened. That this happens, and then gang of other women decide, oh, we're gonna do it too. You
Hmm.
know, because one of the cases, the lady is I haven't seen all the of them that accused him, but first they were masseuse that was accusing him of sexual misconduct, right?
Isn't that it?
And
Wasn't that the same? Wasn't that similar thing with what's his face on the Patriots?
oh, the owner of the Patriots.
No, not
That car.
yeah, owner of the Patriots, but the player, Antonio, and what's his name? Antonio Brown.
Oh, Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she turned around and
yeah.
said that he said they had consensual sex, but she's like, no.
No, but this is different. He's saying that he didn't do nothing. Even on one of the lawsuits, the girl just said that she felt uncomfortable. Not that anything happened.
Okay.
She just felt uncomfortable.
Wow. All right. So are they women who are part of the organization, or are they just women outside of in his personal life?
This is I think his first problem is that there are women outside the organization and that you don't have a regular masseuse. If you're making that type of money, you should have your own personal trainer and your own masseuse that that does that kind of work for you.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That yeah. The more, yeah, you because now you have to be you're almost living in a bubble, because of situations like this, where you have to safeguard yourself. And those are things that they tell you 101 when you first come into the league. All the things that you should be mindful of. But of course, a lot of them don't take heed. Whether it's true or not, you know, yeah, you need to safeguard yourself. Because all these things can happen. I'm surprised some of them didn't come on and said, you my baby daddy."
You
So,
probably gonna have some of them too down the line, and you're
mm,
gonna have to have paternity tests. You know,
mhm. So it is somebody asked how old is a woman. I guess it doesn't really matter how old. It doesn't really matter how old they are. So now he's gonna have to go through this whole process of proving, that whether to prove it, to clear his name, especially if he believes that, as them say that Jamaica never got so. So, yeah, now you're gonna be spending that money, dog. Spending that money
oh
now.
yeah. Well, he already got one of the top lawyers in the state.
Right, right.
Yeah, that handles a lot of high profile cases. He
Mm,
handled a matter of fact, he handled Roger Clemens too. Well, Roger Clemens had problems.
okay. I mean, it's such a nuance, time that we live in, especially when you are a person of means, or just in general, because as you can see, I remember, when back in what 2018, 2017, 2018, the Me Too movement, was strong in force. And I think, people are, trying to understand, you know, what are the boundaries, and I guess, well, people, men and women have to, understand, whether in the workplace or outside the workplace, that there are boundaries that people set. And you must, if they establish boundaries, then you need to be mindful of those boundaries. I think some people throw those boundaries, idea out the door, because they feel that they're above reproach. So, but the one thing I would say, though, anybody that gets leveled with those charges, I mean, if you have the means, definitely go through the process. If to clear, especially if you think that um, there's no validity to some of the charges, because that as you if you remember, I forgot who it was, but as you're investigating, there are certain incidents a few years ago where some of the witnesses were proven not to be credible. You know, so this is something that you're gonna have to go through, especially when someone's saying, nothing happened, but I felt uncomfortable. And I think, if you were just, someone Joe Schmo off the street, nothing would probably come of it. But because he's Deshaun Watson, something is going to come out, because everybody, people, there people are looking for, I guess, if you would a payday, you know, and
Mhm.
that goes both ways, men or women. So people, that you just have to protect yourself when you get up in a different tax bracket. It comes with the territory. It comes with the territory.
Well, I would like to know what's the complexion of these women too, because I want to see how many of them are white, how many of them are black, how many or what nationality could they be? You know, because that I do believe that does play an effect in it.
That, yeah, I mean, like I said, it, yeah, you know, I can't sit there and say, black guy don't date white girls. You shouldn't. Uh, but once it comes out in the public, and you start seeing, because I figure you start making those charges, at some point you're gonna have get revealed who you are, um, who the defendants are, um, you know, in the or the defendants, yeah, who the people who are bringing the charges for you, see who they, find out who they are, their names and faces, so we'll get, I guess we'll see in a little bit who those individuals are. Yeah, yeah, but I don't know, I think, either way, black or white, you know, he um he and his lawyers, have have a task ahead, especially now that they know. I'm sure probably probably by tomorrow, it might be 20. It,
Yep.
it might be more, because especially if you, like you just said, somebody said nothing happened and I felt uncomfortable. I guarantee you're gonna hear more of that. There was nothing definitive. So like he grabbed my ass or whatever. He just he made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know. So and it happened. Yeah, everybody with money, and some people don't care, but a lot of people have agendas. So a lot of people have agendas.
And that's the biggest problem. The ones who have agendas. It's not about that he did something. The agenda is to take him down. And that I feel like how dare you demand a trade? Because he was all beloved
Hmm.
before this.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
my only problem is, bro, you did some missteps by every time you got how many women, different women you had as a masseuse. That's your misstep. You know,
Right.
that's your biggest misstep. But I'm gonna move right along into
Yeah.
the.
Real quick though, the one thing I know, when I when I work with clientele, certain clientele, um, you know, it's not a matter of having access to whomever, is having access to somebody that they can trust. And so when you're in their environment and you are working for them, you continue to work for them, because over a period of time that trust develops and builds. So they have to know that when you come in, when you walk through those doors into their domicile, you know basic, nothing even has to happen in the house. But once you walk out of that door, to come back the next day or the next week or whatever it is, they need to know that they trust you, because you are now part of their family. you know and some people you know tend to abuse those privileges, whether, even if you don't have uh, a non-disclosure signed or what have you. They're operating on the premise that you are trustworthy. And that's why you keep coming back and you keep getting hired and you keep getting paid, because they trust you. And you got to maintain that trust. So yeah, you're right. If you when you're a person of means, the only people that are in your circle are the people that you trust.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next step, and we're gonna talk about spring break here in South Florida.
Oh man.
Now, Miami, South Beach, Miami Beach has done put a lockdown and a curfew on there.
Right.
on the beach. So I mean, I'm not opposed to having fun. And let's say we was all that age once upon a time.
That
And
we were.
you know, we can't condemn the kids for something we were doing at that same age.
Hmm.
we
Well,
I just say they need to have a little more. When I saw, I don't think I ever saw somebody when I was at spring break doing Daytona, going to Freaknik and all this stuff that we was banging on people's cars and abusing other people's property. That's my only problem with it.
yeah. So I think what the prevailing consensus is that you should just allow us to have fun while we here, regardless of what we are here doing. We just trying to blow off steam, you know, and it shouldn't be a big deal. And I think that that's their contention. We are here having fun, and but when you like you said, when it starts to progress into something else, you know, you standing up on top of people's car, you jumping up on top of people's car, you're skipping out on paying bills, you're trashing restaurants, you're trashing, hotels, hotel rooms, and stuff like that, then, it's not just about the ability to go out and have fun. Now, the people, because what a lot of people seem to forget that South Beach is not just a strip where you just go hang out. People live there.
Mm-hmm.
People live on that strip. People live in the surrounding areas, all up and down Ocean, Alton Road, all over the place. People live in those areas. So when you start to inconvenience the residents that live there, then it becomes, a problem. It becomes a huge problem. And people are saying, when the cops come now, you know, the whole thing about black young people being targeted and stuff. So one of the things that I'm always saying is, well, if you start to call attention to yourself, is one thing. You on the streets, you starting fights, then the authorities are going to have to step in, because now you're they have to now think about the safety, not of just the people that are there, but the safety of people that live there, or people that you know end up down at South Beach, and they're not spring breakers. I mean, I
Well,
know, yeah.
I'm gonna be the fight back on that, Ari, because I think someone when they saying they targeting black kids, I think they're talking about you have a crowd and you have white kids and black kids doing the same thing, but the police come in and they're just going at the black kids and bringing them down, and you got they out here too.
Hmm.
What about them?
Well, truth be told, I mean, we are only seeing what's being recorded, as it's being reported,
Mm-hmm.
through the media. And of course, nothing beats, personal eyeballs if you're there by yourself, and you're witnessing, and because in the height of events happening, emotions, you know, get high, and how you relate that story when you're pissed off and you start getting angry, the story gets related in a different way. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, you're right. I mean, we don't know, how, of the people that got arrested and stuff like that, how many of them were white, Hispanic, black. I don't know if all of them were black. No, I don't know if there's a mixture. They just said people got arrested. I know that one young lady died. I know she must have OD'd in her room. I don't know. I don't know if she's black or if she's white. You know. So I think it. My opinion is that in a lot of instances, even though there are people there who came here to have some clean fun, there's always something that happens that ruins it for those people as well. Because there are people that come here that really want to while out, and they don't live here, and they come. And the reason I say that, because I hear them talk when I've been in South Beach, and I hear people that work in the system down there, how they talk, because that's some of the things that happen. Like, yeah, we go tear up shit, and all we gotta do, we out of here. I've heard it. I've heard it personally.
And
So I know it's not a fallacy. I know it's not something that's made up. And it's like, yeah, we come here to to fuck, yeah, to fuck it up. That's their language. So I remember back in the craziest thing though is that this is happening during spring break. Usually you're hearing this story during Urban Beach weekend. You're hearing this story, and so there's a lot. It was a large gathering of people, and when you look at what's been happening in the state of Florida, well, we got our dude, sitting there in the governor's house. Hey, Florida's open. Even though we're having Florida's open. Come on down. So when you have people having the ability to travel and travel for very fair prices, jumping on planes from Chicago and elsewhere for 50, 60, $70 round trip, that's like a bargain to come and have some fun. You
long
know,
as they ain't getting no rental car, because rental car prices, damn. Is this a Benz? No, this is a Toyota Tercel.
I mean, I don't know where they're going to be driving all that stuff, unless you're driving out off the beach, into Wynwood, into other places in Miami, because you know just driving down in Miami right now. I mean, when you see the lines going into Miami, this was even before the curfew.
Mm-hmm.
When you see those lines going across the bridge, any person that lives here in Miami is like, no, we ain't trying to go over there. That's yeah. We don't want to be a part of that.
And it's like you said, really, Miamians or South Floridians are not the ones that's down there causing the commotion. And
Right.
I want to say too that it's not even that bad when Urban Weekend was happening. The stuff I seen, I'm
No. Yeah.
like,
No. Yeah. You're right on that. You're right on that. So, and then of course, people are going to argue. Okay, we have spring break, and of course, Urban Beach Weekend. Obviously, sort of slanted towards mostly a black personnel. But then, yet when you have Ultra, um, the stories, and I'm sure there are a lot of shit that happened during Ultra, but you don't really. It's not
portrayed and told.
portrayed in the way that make that in the same light when they're featuring us in larger crowds. Obviously, we are always the people that are trashing things because we're black. So it's catch 22, I would imagine. And it just doesn't seem like it's something that we'll ever be able to escape. Once you black and you're in a crowd, everybody just assumes that all shit's gonna go bad, go to hell.
Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing before we move to the next topic, and it's got to do with what you said when you said that a girl overdosed. And I'm gonna say that that girl was not black. Not
Mm.
because if she was black, and the media would have came out with a African American male, a female, overdosed on South Beach. When when it's when it's not black, they just say a female,
An individual.
yeah, an individual. But when they're black, they're gonna make sure. that the black gets put in that title.
Right. That and um yeah, I mean you are you're right in saying that. So, and of course maybe you don't even hear too much more about this individual, because most of us know that most of the younger folks, the black, everybody, be walking and smoking some weed and stuff like that. So they're not trying to elevate that to any crazy heights. That's just part of the having fun. But yeah, that was yeah, that was interesting for me to hear. That happened. Unfortunate. For that young person. But we can't always be lumped into this monolithic barrel. Because we congregate, we're all bad, and always something is going to happen. And I think, yes, in certain instances, you do have people that get in there. They are in those situations, and they sometimes cause things to happen for themselves. So when I see waiters chasing after individuals because they're skipping out on bills, and the waiters are apprehending, um, you know, guys or girls running out of their restaurants for not paying bills. It's you're causing something on yourself now. And so when the media or someone videotapes that and it comes on air, guess what? All black people are bad. All black people are
Mhm.
skipping out on bills, during spring break. So that's how it looks.
That's the crazy part about it, because I come from a generation no face, no case. Now they film everything.
Hmm. Yeah, so you can't get away. You do it if you're gonna do the dirty. You know, don't be seen on camera. I would imagine.
No, but this generation records themselves
Doing
doing,
the dirty.
yeah, doing the dirty, and like, look what I did.
You
Okay,
was-
look at the evidence you left.
yeah, we saw you on your Facebook page holding a Tech Nine with money with the place you just robbed. He's like, dude, you made it so easy for us to find you.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
so
man, that is crazy. So I think we at least I don't know if there's anything that, because now once you pass a certain age, I think you're responsible for your own actions. There's only so much that parents can do. You are responsible for your own actions. Um, when you travel, when you leave your house, if you made a choice, and that's what it's all about. You made a choice, and if you get caught, then you have to suffer the repercussions and the consequences. You know.
all right, let's go ahead and move on to this House plan in for voter fraud in the state of Florida.
Hmm.
The House the House has advanced it to it's called a bill for public integrity and election committee bill.
Okay.
So it passed in the House,
Okay.
and they overhauled it. Now it would just
And it,
touch a registration drop box and voting by mail. What they're trying to do is now to change your voter registration, you need your license or social security number to change it. It limits who can drop off or pick up a ballot to immediate family or same household resident. And then the mail-in ballot requests will just cover one, not two election cycles.
okay.
So
Yeah,
now,
because I think if you said in online, when you to request a ballot, it goes for 2 years. So any elections that happen in those 2 years, it would cover that. What you're saying is each time that there's an election that you now have to request a ballot.
Yeah, but you request a ballot, but I don't each time,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's an effort to kill the churches with the souls to the polls.
Oh, they're doing that. They're doing that here too now, right? Not just
Yeah.
Georgia. Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's a systematic thing, that they because they understand that it's the only way that they're going to be able to win. And the only way they can win is to suppress, obvious votes. Um, you know, whether it's here in Florida, definitely, places like Georgia, because the people in Georgia they showed out, and it's the thing that it's not even just it's not a puzzling thing, but understanding that Florida was probably one of the many places that all the things that they're doing, everything that they're trying to curb, reverse, or do away with, we've been having very, very successful elections doing those things. It
Hmm.
was never a problem. Never a problem to mail your ballot, never a problem to drop off your ballot. There was no election fraud. In fact, when the investigations come out or have come out in previous elections, guess who's on the side of error? Never. It's always some Democrat, some Republican. Um, you know, whether it's a plant or what have you, people doing dirty on the, on the Republican side. You
Hmm.
know, look in what the biggest instance right now. The former was it former Senate guy, whatever, that paid the money for that ghost candidate. Um, I think it was in Miami, and he paid the guy. He contributed funds so the guy could run as a ghost candidate, not necessarily to win, but just to siphon off votes.
Votes.
So the voting part is not illegal, but the contribution of the funds is the illegal part of it. And so you were having those things happening, and other things. So they have never been able to prove, with all the bluster and the talk, that there is some illegality, um, in the elections. Never, it doesn't happen. And
Mhm.
when you look at the percentages from going back how many years? It's a good number of years. The tally over a large period of years has been 1,500. Okay, 1,500, and how many people voted? 100 in the general election. Over well, almost 160 million people, 60 something million people voted in this election, in this last election. And when you account for any malfeasance going back, 20 years, it's only 1,500. I don't know what that averages out to per year, but it's
Mhm.
a small amount. It's a small amount. And the things that they're saying just doesn't happen. So whatever is going to happen in the Senate or in whether it's in Florida, Georgia, or the other 43 states that are filing all these bills, they're going to have to come up with some solution in Congress, in the Senate, to pass SR1, because if that doesn't pass, then all these bills are going to frig up election as we know it, and frig up democracy as we know it. And it might not mean a big thing to a lot of people. Oh, it's just politics and ray. But if you're subverting the action, the democratic process like that, then a lot of the people who are saying it, it's not a big deal. When it starts to affect you, then it's going to start being a big deal, and then it's going to be too late.
But see, that's the one of the problems that people don't see the problem until it affects them. Because the state of Florida did not have no evidence of widespread um, fraud last year, but they're still implementing strategies for fraud. Why is that? It's not the it's not for the fraud, it's to suppress voters.
Well, they didn't have a choice because they started off with a talking point and a ruse that said, the elections were invalid because it was fraudulent,
Mhm.
and so they they can't come out and say, okay, no, it wasn't fraudulent because it doesn't appease the base.
But
And
that but
so yeah, go ahead.
my problem is it didn't count in the state of Florida
No,
because yeah, they didn't claim voter fraud here because he won the state. So why are you
yeah, you want to
implementing?
state and they want to state convincingly. You
Yeah.
know, you want
So why
Florida
are
to
you
influence the
implementing
House
these?
of vote.
Yeah. So why are you implementing these strategies if there wasn't no fraud? It's to suppress voters.
Is to suppress voters, and so the ironic thing is that with the with all the things that they're implementing, they're really cutting off their nose to spite their faces, because it's not just going to affect democratic people, individuals. It affects them too. But as we see and know, it's not about the process. It's all about maintaining power in places that they need to have it, because you know in all these places demographics are changing. The voting demographic is changing, um, and the thing that they fear most, where they say in 20, what is it, 20, 40, 45, whatever it is, where the majority will be, the minority will be the majority, you know, from Latin to black to everything, in a lot of the places, look at Georgia, that is change that is changing as each year that goes by, changing in Arizona, all these places that are red states is changing in Texas, so they are trying everything and doing everything in their power to maintain the status quo.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to the next topic. We're gonna step out the state of Florida and go on to the move up to the next state above us to the city of Atlanta, and we're gonna talk about the Asian shootings in Atlanta. And dude, the question is, does the black community have a responsibility to the Asian community as minorities?
Mm, wow. So, given the nature of you know all the things that have happened in the black community, you know, in Asian communities, um, going back as far as internment camps for Asian, Japanese and all that good stuff, all the way back World War II. Um, and then of course, everything that happens in all the black communities, from forever how long, and also taking into consideration the slight that one race gave to another, whether so the I think it boils down to this. On a the tertiary level, you just say, oh, well, with all of those things that have happened, do you continue to hold a grudge, against a different race, because maybe something that happened and they didn't seem like they protected you or supported you. But in all phases, um, different people of different races were supportive of each other, in different, different facets of, whether it's through protests. There were Asian people in protests, for Black lives, that not just Black Lives Matter, but for Black interests, and vice versa. You know, and I think at the end of the day, just like anything else, if you want support, then you have to lend support. Um, and because that could have been another Black church that, or a Black institution or what have you, where someone, walked in and, another white guy or another whoever, you know, shot up the place and killed 10, 15, 20 people, you know. Um, and I think, you can't just put it aside, just because, this is now, it's happening in the Asian community. And I think it's happening, because it's happening more frequently because of the rhetoric that was, you know, that was being spoken by the idiot in chief that left office. This is a direct result of what, he said, the things he said, from the pandemic, to everything else. And when people don't realize that words matter, the way you say it matter, um, it does matter, you know, and people don't seem to want to acknowledge that. Um, but yeah, I think indeed, it words do matter, and I think we should have to be able to we should be able to bridge these gaps, these whether it's an ethnic gap or race gap. It's not just us. It's not just happening to Black people. It's happening to minorities at large. So when people are having, saying things about Muslims, you know, you saw direct actions against Muslim people. Muslims were being attacked. Muslim mock they were being attacked. They were being stoned. They were being burnt. You start talking about Asian people. Asian people were, more, people were being aggressive and beating up people more. Even now, Asian people got killed. You know, and so it's happening across, across the sphere, across the line, across the horizon. It is happening to everybody. So I think at some point we can't just stay in our own bubble and say, okay, let them handle it, let them take care of themselves. I think we're all in this thing together, man. Whether you're a white supremacist or someone else that just hates, it can happen to any minority race. And as we see it has happened to several different minority races.
I agree, but my pushback would be we gonna step out here and support y'all, but we need to see more of y'all. Not saying that none of them do, but we need to see more of the Asian community on our issues too. Because we all minorities, they should support us as well. You want our support, you should give it to us as well. That's my that's my only pushback to it.
Right.
Don't expect us to support you, and when it's time to support us, it's like nah. They don't have time for that.
Yeah. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to make time, bro. We're gonna have to make time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because when we are out there protesting, when look back at the videos um, for last year from from Sandra Bland, and of course in prominence, Floyd and Breonna Taylor. But look at the 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 the, the variety of people who were on the streets in support of the cause and the movement. It wasn't just black people alone, and in several instances, you saw Asians holding signs, marching in lockstep with the cause, right? So if we are to just say, we don't want your support, well, they've been there supporting you already,
Mm-hmm.
So if it's happening to them now, then we should
We
support.
owe them our support.
Yeah, because we know exactly how it feels, um, on our end. We know how it feels. To point out that the sentiment from the police wasn't making an excuse for it. Yeah, yeah, we know how it feels. And the thing that fact checker said, the whole sentiment, the excuse that they give, for this dude, he was having a bad day. Well, shit. Then the people that died, they had a bad day. They had a worse day.
Mm-hmm.
There's not worse than dying because someone shot you because they hated you, but just because they didn't have nothing on their Facebook page, um, just said, hey, um, you know, I'm racist. I'm going to kill Asians. Why is that? Why is it? Why can't because of some federal statute and the way it's written? We see what's happening. He didn't go out and kill, 8 white people. He specifically targeted
Asians.
places that did business and they were owned by Asian people. So why is that? Why is it not a hate crime? Why can't we say he went out and murdered Asian people
But
and
Irie,
whoever was in those establishments? Because basically, if you were in it, you got gunned down too. Plus the other people that he was there hunting.
well, this is my thing to it as well, to the police officer. That shows how white supremacy thinks. It doesn't matter that he killed some Asians because they look at it. Oh, he just killed some Asians. He had a bad day. That their lives don't matter because he was having a bad day. That's what that statement boils down to that.
Yeah.
But hold on, let me see.
Shooting they are calling the shooter a thug because he has a Muslim sounding name. Of course, he's a thug. Uh, you know, but of course, we understand,
Mhm.
what was going to happen because of that, and a lot of people, probably said, some white coop, some white guy was responsible. But at this point, it really shouldn't matter. Someone got up and because of hatred in their heart, they murdered people. And the thing that we have to contend with, um, with the use, all these mass shootings, you know, every single one of them, go back as far as you want from the shooting there in Colorado with the kids to Florida to all these places, certain type of gun. Um, And when they had the ban on these high-powered rifles and stuff, um, the mass shootings, I think at a certain period of time went down, you know, and so people are always going to tag on the whole Second Amendment thing. Oh, you're trying to get our guns. You're trying to get our guns. You're trying to get our guns. Um, and I don't see the validity in that argument at all. I really don't, because you can own other guns. You have the right to own, to own guns and whatever weapon. But why, all these, and the way the laws are written. I mean, this dude in Georgia, he went, bought the gun. He was able to just purchase the gun the same day. Got up and said, I'm going to kill somebody. So I'm going to buy me a gun. I'm going to kill some people. That's what he did. Went, bought him a gun, and he was able to do that.
Yeah, well, he did have an AR. Yeah,
Which
but
one?
in Atlanta.
Okay, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know which
No,
type of
I'm
gun
trying to
he
think about, did he have a semi-automatic rifle, or did he just have a rifle?
I don't know. Yeah, they didn't say which gun. Somebody it was on there was a list. Um, it was on Twitter, and I didn't read all the way through to see if this dude um had that particular type of gun. Boulder, Colorado, definitely. He had the AR-15. Um, but when you look at it, it can happen in any community: black community, Asian community, Muslim community, white community. But you don't really, you know, you know, for the craziness. But the thing that gets us, when they're all shooting unarmed black people for the simplest of stupidity, the stupid reasons, you know, you can go out and commit these heinous mass murders, and you get 9 times out of 10, you're getting arrested without a scratch.
Or even taking the Burger King.
Even taking the Burger King. Look at that. Waffle House. You want some food? You want some water? You good? You all right? How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You want to? Even if you run away, bro, we're not going to shoot you. We just going to just apprehend you again.
Yeah,
But
we might. The worst we're gonna do is tase you.
yeah, we're not going to shoot you, bro. Yeah, you're good. But we just want to know why. We just want to know why did you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why did you do? Are you working by yourself? Are you? Is it just you? You know, can you just sit down and talk to us? We just that's all we want to know. You know, you might look here. You might even get off on a technicality. Who knows? You kill 10 people, but you might get off on a technicality. Who knows? you know, So and as you say that, and I think that the next topic you're going to talk about is Chauvin, and I think you know just to see the disparity and the difference in how we are treated versus you know a typical mass shooter is treated. It is so the difference is so stark and so different. You know, it just begs it screams unfairness. It screams unfairness. And that's just something that we just can't see. We can't wrap our heads around right
All right, but since you brought it up, I'm just gonna
now.
segue right on into it. How the jury selection has been completed for the murder of George Floyd. So I
Mhm.
guess coming Monday we gonna have us a trial.
Oh, sure. It starts
I
Monday.
think I believe I thought I heard the lawyer say that was the lawyer that was speaking earlier, right? That she was saying Monday that it was going that they would be moving the trial on Monday, and they're
Okay.
trying to move this thing as fast as possible.
Mm.
And my thing is, when you move a case too fast, it usually ends wrong for our community. You know, but the jury selection has been picked. Let me see. I had it right down. You got I don't see you have one juror that's a white male in his 20s, a mixed race woman in her 20s, a white male in his 30s, a black male in his 30s, a white woman in her 50s, a
Mm-hmm.
black male in his 30s, a white woman in her 50s again, a black male in his 40s, a mixed race woman in her 40s, a white woman in her 50s, a black woman in her 60s, a white woman in her 40s, a white woman in her 50s, and a white woman in her 20s.
This is what the list of the
The
Colorado
jurors.
or the jurors.
Yeah.
So, wait, so no black people on the jury?
Yeah, they have one, two, three, four, and I'm gonna guess this mixed races are somewhat of black descent. So there's six. Hold on, that's it. Four. One, two, three, four. Yeah, six. Four, four blacks and two mixed race.
Okay.
And I guess one of these are the is an alternate.
Okay.
I don't know who is the alternate though.
No, okay. Well, I'm glad to see that they were able to get the jurors in place because I knew there was a lot of for them when they polled the potential jurors and as they're going through the process they were saying that some of the jurors really had some really strong feelings about what would happen. So I'm thinking, if you're on the jury, are you suppressing the idea that you don't have strong feelings just to be on the jury? Because I don't know which person in the and so the thing in the world that saw this video that it didn't evoke some very strong feelings, and emotion, and that is what sparked, a lot of the protests that lasted forever, how long it lasted, and I think a lot of people didn't envision that a lot of the protests would last so long, because this thing sparks such, raw emotions from people, so it's interesting to me that they say, that I guess the people that are on the jury, maybe, they it was okay with them with their responses, and so the people who had strong emotions, they were disqualified, from being on the jury. So
Well, well, the jurors, potential jurors had to fill out a 16-page questionnaire
okay,
on their views of Black Lives Matter and stuff like that before even be I guess going through the question being selected. So, but all three, oh well, what is it? Four of them that's
hmm
being tried. They're all going to be tried together, and then it's going to be Chauvin is charged with second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and third-degree murder.
so they basically, at least, so now they have all bases covered.
Mm-hmm.
um so at the first, I guess the first degree murder is I think that's the hardest one to prove, if I'm not mistaken. The third degree, may not have as much time served, but it might be the one that they're able to to convict him on.
Well, I said I'm finally happy they can charge somebody like a black person. Throw all the charges we can at them, and something's gonna stick. We just hope that it's
We, yeah,
the highest charge.
but I tell you, bro, you think you think what was the what was it the large protest that which where was it in which one was it? The one that happened 2 years ago, where everybody
To
was just out, just burning shit down, man. Um, this guy cannot get off. And if you think Black Lives Matter protest was bad last year, um, yeah, I think because that would be, there's just no way that he should be able to get off. The same way with by the way, do you know the what's happening in the Aubrey case?
no, they should be. I don't think they went to. They're in trial. Supposed to be in trial right now.
Okay.
Hold, but I know they should have zero. No, I don't even know. I need to touch bases back home and see what's going on because I know they were supposed to start jury selection this month.
Okay. Okay. And I think that those are two benchmark cases. I think, you know, once the right officials got involved, and I think everybody now is going to be looking at this Chauvin case um, intently, um, and it would definitely be a slap. No, not even a slap in the face. That I'm saying that too lightly. It'd definitely be some bullshit if it doesn't go the way we think that it should go and must go. Um, yeah, thing it just ain't gonna sit right. It wouldn't sit right with me. Shit, I might go out there and protest, go drag, because it's just wrong. It's just wrong, and I really hope that they throw the book at him. And I really hope that he spends a lot of time in jail because he needs to, and it needs to send a very strong message, um, so people can be appeased. We need to feel that we're not always on the wrong side of the law. That the law should be able to work for us as well, in especially when there is insurmountable evidence, to prove, the case that you're charging. Especially when it's supposed to be in our defense. So yeah, you know what I mean.
Okay, the fact checker is giving me some facts right now.
Give me some facts, fact checker. Give me some facts, man. Yeah,
May, they're going back to court in May.
for the Arbor case.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's not trial. They're just going back to hear some facts on the
Okay.
case.
Okay. And for Chauvin, where was his lawyers? They weren't successful in trying to move the trial to another place, were they?
No,
Okay, good. Yeah, because yeah, I mean, I don't know where you would have been able to move this case and people not know about this case. You either you're living under a rock with bed sheets, no lights, no radio, no TV, no nothing. You just off the grid, you know, to not know about this case and what happened. If you had a phone, you didn't have to have a TV or a computer. If you had a phone, you knew about this thing. Okay. And somebody was talking about it. It was all yes, so I don't know where you're not going to find somebody that doesn't have some sort of prejudice, with this case. But it's just a matter of, you know, when you get called up, to jury duty, are you able to do the job that you're called to do?
Mhm.
That's just the bottom line.
Without prejudice.
Without prejudice, can you do that? Can you do that regardless of what you see? Can you do that? Listen to the fact, listen to what's laid out, and when you get into that room to deliberate, I'm sure you're gonna have one freaking asshole inside of that talk about, well, X, Y, and Z. Next, we can't come to a decision, judge. I was like, what? Yeah, that's all. That's all you need. I swear to God, that's all you need.
Mhm.
You know.
And you'd be like, man, to me, it's an open and shut case. To me, because all you got to say is, hey, at what point did you not let off his neck?
Yeah.
You never did. You never did. So
Right.
it's a question about his ethics and his ethics and his moral fibers, which is about basically the same thing. And I question him as a police officer.
Okay. Wow. Hmm.
I think we covered everything, man.
That's cool. In record time, baby, in record time. No, man, but there's a lot of things I think that's going to happen this year that's going to change, whether it's the judicial, in terms of how certain cases are tried. Um, this that's one thing, and a lot of our democracy is really hanging in the balance based on how our Congress is right now, the Senate is right now, and yeah, especially how the Senate is right now, and there are a lot of important things that I think need to be passed, and I think the Democrats cannot sit and get paralyzed by fear. Um, if you're thinking not now, but you're thinking next year, midterms, if that's all you're thinking about, we're going. Not only are we going to not get anything done, we're going to lose that. We're going to lose the upper hand, of the Senate and the House. Um, especially if they're not all on the same page, pushing the same agenda, pushing as many agendas, and all lies with this damn filibuster. You know,
Well,
and yeah, go ahead.
I said, well, I don't want the people to feel like we need to depend on the Democrats. If you live if you live in a district where your representative is a Republican, you need to hold their feet to the fire as well,
Of
and
course.
let them know if you don't represent us, we're gonna make sure you're not in that seat next
Right.
term, and that goes for the Democrats as well.
Because as you can see, I think, like I said, demographics are changing, and and they're changing quicker than I think most people expected them to. And so when you become a representative or a senator, you know, the idiot in chief, he became president and was only representing his base. And I think, these senators and representatives are adopting the same principle, that I'm only representing the base, the people that can keep me in this seat. So the people outside of that sphere need to understand that in some instances, if they really come out and vote, if they really understand what is important to them, then these senators and representatives will understand that no, you're not just there to represent the people in your base. You're there to represent as our current president says, I'm here to represent America, all Americans, and people outside of their bases need to put their feet to the fire, um, and the people who are not supporting, you know, the movement, in their party, in the Republican Party, if that's not what you believe in, that's not what you think the Republican Party is about, then you too need to be putting, their feet to the fire, you know. But as we can see, they will eat their young, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody will say nothing. They'll eat it. They won't even regurgitate it. They'll eat it and ask for more.
Mhm.
Because the only thing that's important to them is maintaining power, um, at all costs. So we'll see what's going to happen in the next
Couple
the
of days.
year. Well, the next couple of days, the next several months. Definitely the next several months. What's going to happen, because I guarantee you they got to find a way to figure out how to pass some of these things, in the next year and a half. They have to, as they would say, as we would say in Jamaica, hell on powder house, bro. If nothing, it'd be hell on powder house.
Well, we should be coming up to Biden's first press conference within the next 30 days of taking office.
Okay.
Um,
I don't
and
know.
we
You
need to see what how his first 100 days is. Well, I don't think we should be already applying pressure to Biden for our community.
It's too early, man. I've been thinking about that too, and 50, was it 60 days? I think it's 60 days, give or take.
Yeah.
And people are acting like everything should have been solved, in 60 days. Shit, you damn near didn't even have confirmation for cabinet members. I don't know if all the cabinet members have been confirmed. Um, and people are just getting up to speed, in terms of the things that need to be accomplished, and 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 this whole immigration thing here is definitely going to be an Achilles heel for sure. Um, and everybody's like, okay, yeah, you're president now, you own it. When all the bad things that happened in the last 4 years is like, oh, let's just sweep that under the rug. That didn't happen at all. You know, it's not your fault. Um, you know, you need to own it now. You need to make it better now. If they didn't pass that stimulus package, um, more people will be out there grumbling and complaining. You know, and the thing that really grabs me when it comes to politics is that people act as if things in politics change instantly. It never does. Especially in this country, things in politics never change instantly. So it doesn't matter what any one politician promises. I don't care if he promises you that he's going to turn purple on day one. It's never going to happen. And especially when you see when the way things are in this country with the divide that we have between parties and people, it's going to be a huge uphill climb to get a lot of these things accomplished. So I think people really need to really take some of the chill off, or put some chill on, and just you know watch the process grow. 2 years after 4 years, maybe you'll have you know the reason to say, okay, this wasn't working or what have you. But you need to give people the opportunity to make things right and make things better. And it sometimes it takes a little longer than 60 days.
Well, I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying we need to apply pressure in the terms of, hey, we gonna talk about it and let you know we still here, because all the predecessors have tend to forgotten about we put you in office as a
Right,
community.
right.
So I think that's what we need to go ahead and call this a night for this end of the show. I think we wrapped it up, and because I was being told we need to give our thoughts, and I think we just gave our thoughts.
I did my thoughts. Yes, we did. Hmm.
So that has been another episode of The Bridge. We'd like for y'all to join us next week. We're trying to get some guests for next week as we speak right now. So we'll be hopefully dropping the topic at least by Friday. So,
Okay.
so this has been another episode of The Bridge. We will see you next Tuesday, same time.
Vibes.